Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you are welcome, and my name is Chinom. So a lot more kids are just leaving home to go to college in another country, but nobody is talking about the struggle that most of us go through our first year, second year, even third year here. I'm going to be talking about my own experience and mistakes that I made along the way, my first year here, second year, maybe even my third year. And then moving forward, I'm going to talk about things that I feel like my parents could have done to better prepare me for that kind of move, or things that we need to keep in mind and make sure that we prepare our kids for, so that when they eventually leave the house for another country, another state, whatever, they are ready to take charge of their lives. So since you're already here, you might as well just click the subscribe button, okay? Please click subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Alright, let's just jump into the video. So, quick background of myself. I've probably said this in previous videos, but in case you haven't seen them, I'll say it again. I moved here when I was like 18, I think. Technically an adult, but honestly I was in no way prepared for just that kind of independence. Not even in another state, in a completely different country, right? I technically just went from living with my parents. They're providing for me, they're doing everything for me, paying my school fees, giving me food, giving me a place to sleep, buying clothes, doing everything for me, and then all of a sudden I'm like in charge of my entire life. My entire existence is dependent on myself. I was on a scholarship, so I didn't have to worry about tuition. I didn't have to worry about housing, but I still had to work to like provide basic things for myself, buy laptop, school stuff, books. I still had to work to buy all those things for myself. Obviously, the reason why I even had to look for scholarships and financial aid and all that was because my parents couldn't afford to like give me money for any of that. So it's not like I could come here and then start asking them for money. It was not going to happen. So I was technically on my own. And guys, like, I thought I was ready, I thought I was mature enough, I thought that I could handle things, but the first year I was miserable. It got to a point that I was like, I'm tired, I'm not doing it again, I want to go home. Like, can I just leave this place? That was just the beginning of like many things that were going to go wrong that first year, that second year. And yeah, I'm just gonna talk about the mistakes that I made in my first year, the future, like my career, saving. Like, it was just like a lot of things all at once that I had to just all of a sudden start thinking about, and it was very overwhelming. I'm not even going to lie, it was very overwhelming. I floated through my first year just feeling very overwhelmed by everything, but at the time I didn't even admit it to myself. All right, I was just struggling and not really stopping to admit to myself that it was overwhelming and I was a bit in over my head. So I made a lot of mistakes my first year, my second year, even my third year. And the very first mistake that I made was not asking for help. I'm struggling with managing my finances, or like work and school, the balance, or just like staying grounded. I was struggling with everything, and I did not ask for help ever. And I don't want to just blame my parents or how I was brought up, but I think it's a general problem that we have in Nigeria. I'm talking about Nigeria specifically. I don't know about the African countries. We weren't brought up to just willingly ask for help without feeling shame or fear, or just it was like a culture of just figure things out for yourself. If you do the wrong thing, you will learn now, then you will do the correct thing the next time. And I don't know how effective that kind of thing is, because honestly there are so many things that I struggled with that I could have just asked for help with and it would have been solved. And I think that the problem with many Nigerians is that they mistake asking for help for you wanting them to give you something on a platter of gold without you having to work for it. But that's not it. When I'm asking for help, I just need you to point me in the right direction, and then I will go the rest of the way. I was dealing with a lot of mental stuff that I didn't even know about at the time. I just knew that I was feeling very overwhelmed, feeling very depressed, and I couldn't even talk to anybody about it. I couldn't even ask anybody like help, like what do I do, how do I overcome this feeling. I was feeling very lonely. At some point, classes were getting a bit hard because the style of teaching was just completely different. And that's another thing that this whole not asking for help sort of affected me in academics, right? Here, the way that they teach, they encourage you to talk, to ask questions, talk, give your opinions. It's always a back and forth between the teachers and the students. It's always a back and forth, mutual respect. But in Nigeria, the way I grew up was, they tell you what to do. You go and you figure out how to do the rest, or like they give you one example and you just go and figure it out. Like, questions were not encouraged. So asking questions was not common for me. I had to like really push myself to ask questions, and I was just suffering in silence. Like, guys, we need to cancel that culture. We need to cancel that culture of suffering in silence. It doesn't make any sense. Ask for help when you need it. Ask for help. Okay, the second mistake that I made is looking for things in other people that I should have been looking for in myself. And those things, what are those things? They are, validation, just a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning, and just feeling like I had value as a person. I was looking to other people to provide all of that for me. I hadn't really gotten to love myself in a way that I knew I had a purpose and I was working towards it. I hadn't done all that. I was in my parents' house, going to school, all these expectations of like academic success. You have to do this, you have to do that, and there wasn't any time to just be with myself and get to know myself and fall in love with myself and get that self-confidence that I really needed. I didn't have all of that, and so when I came here and I started to feel lonely, no family around, no friends, I was just looking for friends, like latching on to people, literally just latching on to people in the name of friendship. I was expecting so much from friendships when I should really have been just content with myself as I was. And again, this is something that we need to teach our kids. They need to understand that it's okay to be alone. Not lonely, but alone. They need to be okay with being alone. They need to not start getting anxious and feeling unloved and feeling like they don't have any value, they don't have a word, they don't have a sense of purpose just because they are alone, or because they haven't made any like meaningful connections with anyone. I spent way too much of my time chasing after my friend, because every time that I was by myself, I was when I started to just feel very uncomfortable. I wasn't comfortable with myself. I was lonely, I was getting depressed, and so I was just going to them and going to them and going to them, and just it was very draining for me. And I don't know how it was for them, but it was very draining for me. And at some point I just had to stop and ask myself, like, how long are you going to keep chasing after people just to get some sort of validation? Why can't you validate yourself and get that confidence that you need to stand on your own and be okay with being on your own? Not even all of these connections were genuine, to be honest, but I was just holding on to anyone I could find, and that was very, very, very detrimental to me, because in the long run it burned me out. Like, I was burnt out by like my second year, because I was investing so much in my relationship with other people, and without them I didn't feel like I was grounded. Without them I didn't feel like I knew who I was as a person, and it affected me down the line. Okay, it took years for me to get to the point of really feeling comfortable in my own skin, and that building that kind of self-confidence that helped me to just love myself the way I am and be okay with being alone. I have friends, I have very great friends, but at the end of the day I know who I am now, and that's something that I should have spent time doing my first year, second year here. But no, I was just so invested in friendships with people. It was crazy. Third mistake I made was not leveraging on my sister's connections and her experience of being here. So for those of you who don't know, I have an older sister. She's 3 years older than me. She came here like 3 years before I did. So she had been here for a while by the time I came here, and we've never really been close. We're still not close, but at the end of the day, we're family. We know we're family, and I believe that at the end of the day, we will be there for each other. We will, come through for each other if need be. I did not take advantage of the fact that she had been here. She had probably built certain connections that could have, helped me ease my way into the system here. I didn't take advantage of the fact that she probably had experiences that I could have learned from. She was in school for like a year, and then before she graduated and moved farther away from me. But when she was in school, she was only like 2 hours away from me, so I could have made the trip a couple of times to just connect, talk to her, find my footing, learn a few things from her, and I did not do that. I mean, it's not like she reached out and then I said no, but then at the end of the day, I am the one who stood to benefit from it, so I should have made the effort to reach out to her, to connect, to learn what I could from her, just leverage on our connections and our experiences, and I didn't do that, and I regret it a lot because it could have saved me a lot of stress. I could have not, there are certain mistakes that I'm pretty sure I made that could have been avoided if I had just connected with her and learned a thing or two, and just helped and let her help me ease into new life here. And then the final mistake that I made was just mismanaging funds generally. Like, okay, it's not like I was earning a lot of money, but it was a significant amount of money that I could have managed better. I had common sense to know that, okay, I should probably save some money. I shouldn't just be spending anyhow. I had that kind of common sense. But having the common sense and knowing what to do is not the same as actually applying it to your life. Okay, because I was just spending my money on things that I don't even know. I don't know what I was doing with my money till today. I don't know. If I think about how much I was earning in school and calculate, it was a very, very decent amount of money. But I don't know what I did with it. My parents struggled. I watched my mom struggle really hard to send us to school and everything. So it's not like I grew up in a rich home and I was just used to spending, or like, I don't know why I was just not more careful with my money. I don't know why I didn't manage my money better, but it all boils down to education, right? And like practice, and just instilling something in a child in a way that they understand from an early age how important it is, and they begin to practice it from an early age. But I didn't do that. Those are like the major mistakes. There are many more, but those are the major mistakes that I made my first and second year here. And now I'm just going to talk about like things I feel like my parents could have done to just better prepare me for the move here. Things that I feel we need to make sure our children get. Kids these days are living home at 16, 17, 18. Some are living for different states, for a different country. You need to make sure they're ready. You just need to make sure they're ready. The first thing is we need to teach our kids to ask for help when they need it. It's okay if you ask for help and they say no. At least you asked. Also, you don't have to ask only one person. You can ask multiple people. If one person says no, somebody will say yes. Somebody will help out. Somebody will point you in the right direction. A lot of us have mastered the skill of just appearing like we are okay, especially with social media and the internet. A lot of us have mastered that skill of just appearing like we're okay, but we're really not. We need to just make sure that our kids are okay with talking to us. Like, they need to be able to talk to us, to tell us their struggles, ask for help when they need it. We need to cancel that culture of silence that most of us grew up with. We just need to make sure that our kids are okay with asking questions, asking for help when they need it. Ask. We need to encourage our kids to get to know themselves. I don't know how else to put it, but it's like, encourage your kids to spend time with themselves. Not every time you're with friends, you're playing, you're having fun, you're doing this. Spend some time with yourself. Ask yourself some critical questions about your self-worth. How do you feel about yourself? What are your goals? What are your ambitions in life? Where do you see yourself going? Do you believe that you are worthy of success? You don't have to be lonely. You will have friends, you will have family, you shall have people. But are you okay with being alone? Are you okay with spending some time with yourself, knowing that you're a badass and you deserve to spend some time with your badass self, okay? So that they don't leave home and suddenly find themselves looking for happiness in other people when they could have found happiness in themselves. Encourage them to get to know themselves, to love themselves, to spend some time with themselves and understand their self-worth. Self-confidence is key. Self-confidence is key. And then this whole financial literacy thing is very important. Kids need to understand that money needs to be managed. You can't just get it and spend it anyhow you want and expect your life to, go a certain way. It doesn't matter if you're rich, you're wealthy, if you're from a poor family. It doesn't matter. You still need to manage your wealth in a way that makes sense for it to be sustained over a long period of time. And the earlier we start getting kids into that mindset of, okay, money management is important, financial literacy is important, and I need to pay attention to this and practice it, the earlier they start practicing it, the better for them in the long run. Because me, I know how I struggled. Like till today, I'm telling you, till today, I don't know what I was doing with all my money in school. It was just leaving my account. And that's not a good thing. That's not what you want. You want accountability. You want your kids to be able to account for their money early on, so that they can just carry on that practice as they get older. Basically, that brings me to the end of this video. I'm just going to say in summary, communication is key. Communication is key, because if your kids cannot talk to you, it's a problem. If they feel like they can't come to you with their problems, with their questions, they feel like they can't ask for help, man, it's just a problem. Just say that we need to cancel the culture of silence. We need to cancel the culture of suffering in silence, because it makes no sense, okay? You can speak out, you can ask for help and make your life better, make everybody's life better. It can be really hard, and I understand. I totally get that it can be very, very difficult when you don't have family here that you can just call and be like, hey, I need some money, or hey, can I come home for, spend some time with you guys, talk to you, whatever. You don't have that kind of support, and you don't have financial support from home anyway, as well. That can also be very difficult. I should do another video of like things I wish I knew before I moved here, or things I wish I did before I moved here, something like that. But that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you all. If you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe buttons, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I post a video. Okay, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.